Hey everyone, I'm Catherine. At 32, I've finally built the life I always dreamed of. My tech startup, Secure Flow Solutions, just hit its first million in revenue. But getting here wasn't easy. I can still picture myself at our old kitchen table, watching mom count pennies for groceries, or so they said. We sacrificed everything for your education, Catherine. Everything. Dad's voice from my teenage years still echoes in my head. The least you could do is help us with these bills. But Aunt Elizabeth saw through their act. After high school graduation, I sat crying in her car when my parents drained my entire savings account. "Listen to me, sweetheart," she said, gripping my hand. "You're not responsible for their choices. Focus on college. I've got your back," and she did. While my parents blew borrowed money on new cars, Aunt Elizabeth helped me land scholarships and a part-time job that got me through MIT. Last week, my brother David called. "Catherine, you won't believe what Dad just told me. They need $40,000 for some investment opportunity. You're making bank now, right? They said you owe them." I was in my office when I got that call. Hannah, my best friend and business partner, looked up from her laptop, her face tight with disbelief. "They're still pulling this nonsense, after everything you've done." She was right. They never stopped. Just yesterday, Mom called while I was at dinner with Ethan, this amazing real estate developer I've been seeing. The phone buzzed until I finally answered. "Catherine, honey, the country club raised their fees again. We need to maintain our status in the community. Just a small loan, dear." Ethan reached for my hand. "You don't have to answer that." "But they're my parents," I whispered, guilt creeping in. "The same parents who made you work 3 jobs in college while they took vacations." He wasn't wrong. The startup's success only seemed to fuel their demands. Last month, they showed up unannounced at my office. "We gave up our dreams for you," Dad said, standing in the lobby. "All those extra hours I worked." Before I could reply, Hannah intervened. "She's in a meeting. I'll have to ask you to leave." Later, I sat in my apartment, staring at old family photos. My phone lit up with a text from Ethan. "You deserve better than this. Your success is yours. Don't let anyone tell you different." He doesn't know about the family reunion next week. The thought of facing everyone, especially after refusing Dad's latest scheme, makes my stomach churn. The lake house looked the same as it always did, but the air was thick with tension. Mom and Dad were already working the crowd when I arrived, probably pitching their latest opportunity. "There's my successful daughter." Dad's voice boomed. "Did you bring those documents I asked for?" I froze. "What documents?" "The investment papers, honey. You know, for the medical bills and the new business venture." "Medical bills?" Last week it was a timeshare. The crowd grew quiet. Aunt Elizabeth watched from the porch, her arms crossed. "If you bothered to stay in touch," Mom chimed in, her voice dripping with fake concern, "you'd know about your father's condition." "What condition?" Dad was bragging about his golf game last month. David stepped forward, phone in hand. "Look what she's doing, everyone." I have the text where she ignored Dad's pleas for help with his heart medication. My hands started shaking. "Those texts don't exist. David, stop lying." "Some daughter you turned out to be," Dad shouted, his face flushed. "We gave you everything, and now you're too good for us with your fancy tech company and rich boyfriend. You abandoned this family." In the corner, I noticed my cousin Emma discreetly holding up her phone, recording everything. "Abandoned the family?" My voice cracked. "I paid for your cruise last year. I covered David's rent for 6 months. Only because you feel guilty for leaving us behind," Mom sneered. Her voice sharpened, cutting into me. "Everyone here knows what you really are, a selfish, ungrateful child who forgot where she came from." The tears came hot and unstoppable. Before I could respond, Aunt Elizabeth's voice rang out, cutting through the chaos. "That's enough." She stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "I've watched you manipulate this girl her entire life. Catherine worked 3 jobs in college while you maxed out credit cards on vacations." "Stay out of this, Elizabeth," Dad growled. "You've poisoned her against us enough." I took a shaky breath. She's right. I found the credit card statements. There are no medical bills. Just like the emergency home repairs last year and David's fake graduate school fees. It's all lies. The crowd murmured, and some cousins exchanged uneasy glances. "You ungrateful little." Mom stepped toward me, but Aunt Elizabeth blocked her path. Touch her, and I'll call the police myself, she warned, her voice like steel. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned and ran, my tears blurring everything. Behind me, I could hear David shouting, "See, she's proving my point by running away." 2 weeks later, I was buried in work when my phone lit up. It was a message from Emma. My hands trembled as I opened the video. There I was, being torn apart by my own family. Emma's next message followed. "You need to see these too." Screenshots flooded my screen. Posts from my parents' social media accounts spun lies about my troubled childhood and how they'd sacrificed everything to pay for my therapy. None of this is true, I whispered to myself, scrolling through years of fabricated stories. Just then, Hannah burst into my office. "Catherine, we've got a problem. 3 investors just pulled out. Someone's been calling them, spreading stories about fraud in your past." She pulled up more evidence. "Look at this. Bank transfers from Uncle Mike and Aunt Carol. Your parents convinced them to invest in a fake medical fund for your recovery." My phone buzzed again. Aunt Elizabeth this time. "I've been talking to the family. Your parents pulled the same scam on your cousin Jessica 3 years ago. David set up the fake investment accounts." I felt sick. "How many others?" "At least 5 families," Hannah said grimly. "And they're using your success to sell it, claiming you're a secret partner." Just then, Ethan walked in. It was the first time I'd seen him since the reunion. "Before you say anything," he began, "I was wrong. After you left, I did some digging. Your parents approached my firm yesterday with an investment pitch. They're using your name to scam people." Hannah didn't miss a beat, pulling up a folder. "We've got emails, bank statements, and witness accounts. They're not just lying about you. They're committing fraud." My phone buzzed relentlessly as more relatives came forward. Aunt Janet had lost her savings. Cousin Mike's kids' college fund, gone. My parents even used my childhood photos in their fake presentations, spinning tales about a troubled teen who overcame adversity. "They've been writing checks from a company registered in your name," Hannah said, scrolling through documents. "Did you know about this?" "What?" I gasped. "No, I never." "David filed the paperwork," she continued. "He used your old signatures from college forms." I sank into my chair, the weight of it all crushing me. Years of manipulation, lies, and theft, hidden behind a mask of family loyalty. Ethan knelt beside me. "What do you want to do?" he asked softly. Before I could answer Ethan's question, my office phone rang. Dad's name flashed on the caller ID. "Catherine, sweetie, we need to talk about the family business. Your brother and I have some exciting new opportunities." I let it ring. Hannah was already documenting every call, every message, every lie. The truth was finally unraveling, and this time, there would be no more hiding behind family ties. The certified letter arrived that Tuesday, a notice of legal action, family interest claim in Secure Flow Solutions. My parents were actually trying to claim partial ownership of my company. "They're alleging you built it using family resources and connections," my lawyer explained. "They filed documentation claiming they provided seed funding." That's when Emma's video hit the family group chat. The reunion meltdown, paired with years of receipts. Aunt Carol spoke up first. "They took our entire retirement fund. Said Catherine was a silent partner. We trusted them." Then the floodgates opened. Cousin Mike posted bank statements. Uncle Dave shared recorded phone calls. The carefully crafted web of lies came crashing down. "Did you see? David got fired," Hannah said, showing me his LinkedIn update. "His firm did a full audit and found out he'd been notarizing fraudulent documents." My phone buzzed again. "Mom's country club friend Susan says your parents are moving out of their house," Hannah reported. "They said something about downsizing to a condo." "More like forced to downsize," Aunt Elizabeth chimed in. "The bank froze their accounts after multiple fraud claims. They're living in that small apartment complex near the highway now." Ethan squeezed my hand as we watched the news spread through the community. Dad's golf buddies stopped returning his calls. Mom's social circle dissolved. Their carefully constructed image shattered like glass. "You were right about them all along," Ethan said, sliding a ring across the restaurant table. "Marry me. I promise I won't make you invite them to the wedding." 6 months later, I stood in Aunt Elizabeth's garden, wearing white. No elaborate country club reception, just the people who stood by me. Emma, now my wedding videographer, captured Ethan's tears during our vows. Hannah's toast had everyone laughing. to the bride who built her own empire and the groom smart enough to support her. David tried to crash the ceremony, shouting about family loyalty as security escorted him out. Last I heard, he was working retail and living with our parents in their one-bedroom apartment. Dad still calls sometimes, usually when rent is due. Mom sends guilt-tripping emails about grandchildren she'll never meet. I've blocked them all. Your latest investor meeting is confirmed, Hannah announced yesterday, scanning my schedule. Oh, and SecureFlow just hit $10 million in valuation. Later that night, driving home to my new house with Ethan, I passed their apartment complex. Through a ground floor window, I glimpsed Mom and Dad eating TV dinners, surrounded by the remnants of their former life. "You okay?" Ethan asked. I thought of the family gathering we'd hosted last weekend. Aunt Elizabeth teaching Hannah's kids to bake, Emma showing everyone her engagement photos, the sound of genuine laughter, no strings attached. "Yeah," I said, smiling as I drove past without slowing down. "I've never been better." Reflection. What would you do if a toxic family member suddenly showed up at your wedding, like David did?